Morning, folks. Interesting development in the game. Last night, if you live in Futureland, this morning, if you live in the real world, because obviously my time zone in New Jersey is the only one that realistically exists. We have seen I don't know if this is for the first time ever in relation to no other valuation change. We've seen a shift in pricing or materials across Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And I want to talk about that because I do believe there are greater implications when we see a shift like that. And we will do that right after we see a sweet 8-second clip of my avatar flying through space. Okay, so last night I started to see rumblings of this happening, and I had only seen pictures of the weekly shipments, so I wanted to hold out on saying anything until I saw what was going on. But effectively, we have seen a shift in the pricing of signal data, right? Gray signal data is exactly the same as it had always been, 15 crystals per signal data. But green signal data is down from 20 and is now 15 crystals per signal data as well. And blue signal data has gone down from 30 and is now 25 crystals per signal data. Now, that is not just up here in this temporary area of great deals, as it always has had better deals than other parts of the store, but that is also everywhere else in the weekly store. We are seeing the same valuation. And if you are not convinced, it is also in the featured shipments. And this can be an accident, right? Somebody could have fat fingered something on two completely different values in the system and it'll be changed next week. I don't think so. I think that this is a greater shift in devaluation to make relicking a little bit easier, especially as we've seen the shift with crystals and as we've seen the shift to allow players at the lower end of the spectrum with characters to also interact with the relic system. Now, there is good news and bad news associated with that. The good news is that if you are one of my Buy Me a Beer members and you do use my valuation charts and my valuation sheets, I did have the foresight. And I will say that while listening to Three Scoundrels last night, there was a joke going around in the chat that I would be spending the next week changing all of my charts because of this change. But the good news is I did have the foresight to develop a raw data chart, which does allow me to make that change in 1 to 2 quick button presses, right? So when we look at something like the Signal Data Ascension Pack, this is already converted and changed very quickly, very easily. The bad news is that if you have watched any of my valuation videos that include signal data, or you have seen pictures of my valuation charts that I have posted online or other people have shared online, those are obviously going to be slightly incorrect. Now, in general, this is a relatively small overall shift. So you're still going to see high value in a lot of those packs. It's just not going to be 100% accurate. And I will likely shift over time my articles on Substack to be consistent with these changes, but I can't control what people on the event servers do and just kind of be careful of that. Now, I wouldn't make this video if I just wanted to point out that change. It's a it's a seemingly small change that I do think has greater implications because, to my knowledge, this is the first time that we are seeing a value shift that is not in relation to an overall gear change. And what I mean by that is the last time that we saw a shift in pricing like this was when the gear doubling, right? The state of the gear elixir happened, which was, I don't even know, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, somewhere around, was it pre COVID? I honestly don't remember. It was a long time ago. That was the last time we saw a shift like this. And it was in relation to the fact that all of that gear was now being doubled. This is the first time this has happened that is not in relation to that type of inflation. And that tells me that when we talk about upcoming changes and bigger changes coming in later this year, that it is very, very likely that we will see either a new progression system, an increase in the current progression system, or something that is going to tell us they want to push us past our current relic requirements. And why only signal data? Right? To my knowledge, nothing else has changed. Carbonate circuit boards are still 5 credits, 5 crystals per. Are there any others that we check just off the top of our head? Bronzium wiring, 3500, 20. Let's pop into Discord real quick. Let's check with Moonborn's chart. Bronzium's off. Shipments are 20 crystals per. Bronzium's, oh, these are their episode, so that doesn't help us. 120, 240, 12. Still 20. Rhodium heat sinks at their valuation, not my valuation, are 100. They used to be 100. Go to something higher. Keypads, 3750 divided by 15, 250. Still 250. So there's no other relicing change, just signal data. I'm nervous that there may be a 4th signal data coming. I'm nervous that there may be a relic 10 coming. Scratch that. It's been a while. I would be okay with a relic 10 coming. I do think that I am nervous that we might see like a red star system like Marvel Strike Force. I know I mentioned that in a video earlier this week. Something that maybe runs adjacent to the relicing system, but where more valuation and more monetization is going to be put into that system. Either way, in a vacuum, this relicing change, this signal data change, it is 100% a positive change, even if there are greater implications that are going to come in the future. I am still excited by this. It definitely will help. I am curious. Let me see. I don't have any daily deals where that is the main item, so I can't use that as a gauge right now. I am curious if these will be adjusted to compensate for that, and we will see a jump. I am curious as to why green and gray signal data have the same valuation, and there was not a downshift in gray. I know it's a numbers game. I'm sure CG is seeing the interactions there. There's a lot, and we will keep up on it. I just wanted to point you guys out to the change and, any implications that come from that. So I hope it does bring a brightness to your Friday. Peace out, and have a great rest of your day.